Hello everyone, MadLabs here, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can not just make this game for Windows, but also over there in the top right you can see I have an Android logo. I'm going to be showing you how you can export your Godot game to an Android phone at least, because that's much easier than iOS. As you can see, we have the exact same game running over here, and I'll also have it running on my phone, which I should put in a quick little snippet of that, and you can see it's running on the phone. But enough said, let's get into making this. But I'm going to be doing it the old-fashioned way, and I'm just going to be making a very simple Android test project, Android test tutorial version, because I want to walk the viewer through the exact problems that you could be facing when making your own Android game. I just want to put a couple of disclaimers though. This is a kind of tricky process, and it's kind of has a reputation for being tricky. It doesn't have to be. It could be very simple if you listen to every single step very carefully and don't miss any letter. That's all I ask, because then you won't get frustrated and you won't have any issues when exporting. So to make sure we have our stuff working, we're just going to put in just set up a random scene, put whatever you want. It doesn't really matter what you put, because this will all just be appearing on the phone. So just save your scene and make sure you run the scene, okay? I'm not going to select a scene right now because I want to show what happens when you don't select it, but we're going to get to that part very soon. So you're first going to want to install the Android build template. It's going to install it into this project, create an Android folder over here, or it should have created an Android folder over here. If we go over here, there's an Android folder, and inside of the Android folder has a bunch of Android related stuff. You don't need to worry about that. There we go, it just appeared. I don't know why it took some time. So we're going to go to our editor settings, and we're going to scroll down all the way to Android. And you can see I have some stuff pre-filled in here, and this is what it will look like for you. Don't worry about these because we are going to be seeing where these come from. Debug, Keystore, and Android SDK path. Let's deal with the Android SDK path. To get the Android SDK path, you need Android Studio installed. What's Android Studio? It's a program made by Google where you can basically make Android apps. If I just quickly search it up, I go over here to the first link basically, and download Android Studio. It's that simple. And when you're in Android Studio, you'll be asked to download the SDK Manager. Or not download the SDK Manager, but at least download the SDKs. As you can see over here, I have 11, 10, 9, 8, and 4.4 installed. The reason I have 4.4 installed is because that was the best version of Android, but that's just my opinion. And over here you can see we have the Android SDK path. This is the one that we need to put into Godot over here. So I'm just going to copy paste this, and Strix is the name of my PC. I don't know the name of your PC, but it will say C users and whatever your username, whatever your PC name is, app data local Android SDK. If you're wondering why I chose Strix, that's the name of the motherboard. Anyway, we're just going to copy paste here. No, we're going to copy paste here. We're going to click enter. Godot will automatically format the path into its preferred form, and we're just going to click select current folder. Don't click any folder. Don't click any folder up here. Just click select current folder. Now you have the Android SDK path. I realize I should explain how to install the SDK itself, and you literally just click checkmark, apply, and it will start installing. I do not want to install them, and there are a lot of, you can see I canceled that installation of Android 8. I do not want to install Android 8. There are multiple tutorials online that are really good at explaining how to install the Android SDK and getting set up with Android Studio. I don't cover that because I think it's really simple to install Android Studio. Anyway, we're going to go to our Debug Keystore. Now, the Debug Keystore is a funny thing. Okay, if I go over here to exporting for Android on Godot, this is the Godot documentation, latest stable version. It tells me that I need to do a couple things, which is install Android Studio, which gives me all of this stuff. And then I have to install OpenJDK. I'm just going to go over here, and now you can see it's just installing. Give it a second. And once you have it, you can just click next and next. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to install it here, but you can just see it's a very simple installation process. If we go back, once we have it installed, we can go over here and just copy this very long command. Now, this is a command line tool, and what this means is to make the Keystore, which is how you export stuff to Android and actually get stuff to function, you need to go to a random folder. As you can see, this is where I keep all my Godot stuff. Really messy, but I don't care. You can see over here, if I go up here to the file path, I type in cmd, click enter, you can see I get sent to my command prompt. Now I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to right click. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I made a couple errors, but you just want to make sure you right click to paste. You can also go over here, right click over here, and then edit paste. I accidentally made a mistake where I didn't have this copied and it didn't paste. So just make sure you have it copied. And if you want to clear the screen, it's not clear for some reason. It's CLS. So now I'm just going to right click, paste. Now you can see it ran. It took that long to run. And this is where we didn't have the Keystore before. And it basically made the Keystore for us. However, just because this ran really quickly, you have to understand what this actual command means. And we're going to break it up word by word, which is what I love to do when I have a problem, which is we're going to be getting reference to the key tool. It's just a tool that comes in when you install the Android SDK to the default path. We get key lag or key ALG RSA. That's just an encryption standard, I believe so. It's not important for you to touch. Generate key pair, that's not important for you to touch either. Alias is a word or a name. Android debug key. You might notice that Android debug key is the exact same stuff we get over here. Android debug key. We can change this to something you want. So NadLabs, for example, is going to be my Android debug key name. So you can see over here, I'm just going to move my cursor along, and I'm just going to get rid of Android debug key. And the reason I'm going to make this a longer tutorial than usual, or a lot more filler, is because I noticed that when tutorials take out that filler, it becomes harder to follow. So key pass is password, and it's the same thing you're going to put over here. So this is Android. I'm going to leave it as, I'm not going to put it Android, but I'm going to put Androids because I just want to show that I'm going to show the edited version. So if in case you're editing, make sure you change it to something that you'll remember. Keystore debug, this is the file name. So don't get rid of Keystore, get rid of debug.keystore. No, sorry. You want to get rid of whatever the debug is and just replace it with Keystore name. For simplicity's sake, I recommend just leaving it as lowercase, no spaces, no caps, nothing. Just quick and short one file, just to avoid any problems. Store pass is also a password, which you will use elsewhere, but just make sure it's the same as, or it's easy for you to keep it the same as your key pass, because then you will not forget it. And then over here after dname, which is a command or a parameter into the key tool command, we have some other settings, and then we just finish up the command and we can just click enter. After that, just click enter, and you can see it was running when the title changed up there. And now when we go back, we can see we have our Keystore name, which is what I called it, remember, because I went over here to the Keystore parameter and I changed its value to Keystore name. In fact, I think I can expand this to show. Yeah, Keystore name. Okay, it's Keystore name, but same idea, Keystore name. This is the file name. I can't believe I missed a Y. So we're just going to copy the path over here. Not that path, but this path over here, so we know where we're going. We're going to go back to Godot, and we're going to go to our debug Keystore. We're just going to erase this, and we're just going to click enter. So we can choose which Keystore we want. So I'm going to choose my Keystore, or Keystore name, .keystore. And remember, this will not work for you because I'm not going to be uploading these files. These keystores are for you to make and you to keep. So you can see we have the debug Keystore user over here. We have the debug Keystore password, and that is the exact same thing as when I put it over here. I put NadLabs as the alias, and that's the username. And the password, I'm going to keep them the same because it's not clear. Now, I believe Godot is asking for the key pass password, but there's also a store one over here. Where'd the store one go? A store password or store pass. Just keep both the same because then it's easier and you don't have to scratch your head figuring out which password it's asking for. So we have everything set up in the settings. Now, if you have your phone connected, or if you have a Android virtual device like I have, you can just hop over there, and obviously I'm just going to clear the apps that I had open, and I'm just going to click this button, and it's going to ask me which one I want to run it on. And you can see over here, I'm really surprised this came up, but it's asking me which scene do you want to run. I'm going to first select the scene, and I'm actually not going to select the scene. I'm going to show you what happens. So I'm going to go run it on the Google phone. It is asking me, but if you export your game over here and it doesn't run, just make sure this is installed, or like you have a scene set up, because this part I find a lot of beginners mess up. Just make sure if you're having a test project, make sure when you click F5 something runs, or if you click this play button something runs, because then Android will also have something to run. So I'm just going to do the Google phone first, or this Pixel phone over here, and as you can see in a couple seconds, the app launches with no problems, and I'm in my game. And you might notice it's a little bit stretched out. It's because this Android virtual device has a like 1080p or above type resolution. So we can just go over here to our project settings, and I usually find that I usually find that just doing 2D and keep works the best, and we can just actually I'm going to uninstall it just to show how you can uninstall maybe on a virtual device. You can go over here to I'm just going to uninstall all the versions I have of it. And if you're wondering why I have two versions, I was actually just testing it, and I just wanted to make sure everything worked. So I'm going to clean install. There's no Godot, there's nothing here. There's just some Flutter apps and React Native apps, and just going to go over here and install it to my phone, which I did not mean to do, but hey, if it's installing to my phone, I'll make sure to leave the video of the install onto my phone. So it just popped up on my phone, and yeah, everything's working. And I'm just going to go over here and click it on, I'm going to run it on the Google one now. And you can see it just takes a couple times. If you have a slower PC, Godot might freeze. And when I had a slower PC, Godot froze a lot, and it would actually just like say not responding for a bit, and then after a couple seconds it would come back to normal and everything would work. Now that's installing it onto a phone that you've connected, but how do you export it as an actual APK that you can upload to the Google Play Store? If you want to export this to a Google Play Store or any other app store, I'm not sure which ones accept APKs other than the Google Play one, but if you want to export it to an actual store, you're going to have to fill in a release Keystore, which is different than the Keystore we saw over here. This is the Keystore Godot uses just to like get stuff tested and running, but you actually need a new one if you want to export to a actual store. Okay, so if we want to export this app to the Play Store over here, as you can see, I was just playing with stuff and I figured out what was the issue. We have to use a different command. If we go back to the Godot documentation for a second, which is over here, you can see that this command up here is keytool, and it's making basically a debug keystore, as the name suggests, right? But if we want to make a release version, if we scroll down a bit, exporting for the Google Play Store, we have to use this command. It's slightly different, and I'll show you how. So we're going to go over here. We're just going to clear any values if you had them over here. Just clear them. Make sure you want to put in your release key store. But what's the release key store? Well, if I go over here, I'm just going to type in CMD because I realize not everyone has the superior JIT bash, but that's just my opinion. As you can see, I right click, pastes, and it sends me straight away to making my key store. So I'm just going to type in my password. Android, don't worry, it's actually typing. You just won't be able to see it because there's no fancy characters on a command line. First and last name, Nad Labs. Just type in random stuff here. It doesn't really matter what you put. I mean, if you're exporting it for an actual thing, like as you can see, I just typed in enter without really reading this. You actually have to type in something else. So I'm just going to type in Nad Labs with my first name. Yes, that's yes. Yes, this is correct. I don't think it mattered. But return if same as Keystore. And you can see warning. We have a warning. I had to update it, but essentially now we have the Keystore made. And over here we have the My Game Keystore. If you're wondering how, well, if you give this command read word for word, as you can see, we're using keytool. We're generating a Keystore. This is the file name, and then this is the alias. And the password was set up by me, which was Android. I believe I typed Android over here. We can always verify that. I'm just going to grab the path over here. So I'm just going to Control X. Going to go over here to my mygame.keystore. A user was NadLabs. Password was Android. I changed the password for this one. I know I did Androids before. This is a different password, so a different keystore. So I'm just going to export my project. I'm just going to overwrite this file that I was playing with when I was not getting it to work. But now you can see we get app signer returned with error 2. Oh my god. Okay, I can't believe I made this mistake. Okay, remember when I said you had to pay attention to every single word? This is just an extra terminal called JIT bash, or it's the Git terminal. Basically, I did the exact same thing, and I was running into a bunch of errors, and I was wondering what was the problem, right? As you can see right now, I have a Android to test tutorial, and I'm going to upload it to the Google Play Store, and I'm going to show this is working. And I know this is a slightly long video, but I want my tutorials to be raw and real. I want them to show actual problems, not some fancy smanchy stuff. As you can see, it works. Okay, I can export this right now if I want Google to release it. Like if I want this to go on the Google Play Store tomorrow, right now even I could do it, but I'm not going to because We have some errors. Your app cannot be published yet because I did not fill in the stupid store listings. You need a full description. I'm not going to do that right now, and I'm not going to be telling which countries this will be exported for because this is just a test. Okay, after a solid, what was it? 30 minutes, or no, more like 15, because some of the tutorial was at the beginning. I finally figured out what was the issue, and I'm going to walk you through the issue that I had, and hopefully you won't run into this issue. Basically, when you want to export your game for Google Play, you have to go to the Godot docs, and you have to see, I'm going to link this in the description, obviously. You have to follow this command. So, logically, you take it into your folder of choice. So I'm just going to go over here, hop over to my folder of choice. Let's see, I'm just going to go right click. Actually, I'm going to do this with CMD because I know not everyone uses JIT bash. So I'm just going to right click. It's going to ask me for a password. What's my password? I'm going to do Android. I hope I typed that in correctly. Now you can see I get an error. That's because I already have the mygame.keystore, but I'm going to delete it and I'm going to try again. So I'm just going to delete this and show you the true, raw, and real version of it. So I'm just going to click up, like the up arrow, just to get the previous command, and I'm going to name it mygame2keystore. Notice how the alias over here is mygame. It's not Android Debug or whatever it was before. It's not NadLabs. It's alias is my name. My game. Sorry, not my name. I'm going to restart this command, and I'm going to rename this keystore to mygame or mykeystore for release. And my alias, or my name of this keystore, or this like username, is going to be nad or not NadLabs. Sure, let's do NadLabs name. I realize it's getting cut off, so I'm just going to expand it. We have the key encryption standard RSA and everything here. So basically, what's after the hyphen keystore is your keystore file name. What's after alias is the thing that you're going to be putting over here into release user. Click enter. No, not click enter, but click enter when you have the cursor at the end for some reason. Type in a password. What's my password going to be? My password is going to be Godot. Now, you're not going to be able to see me type this in because Windows, but okay, 6 characters. So Godot with a double T at the end. My password is going to be GODOTT. Of course, they don't match. What's my first and last name? I don't think it matters what you put here because that's for Godot, like that's for Google Play to know who's signing this, but I'm just going to put NadLabs. CA. It doesn't matter what you put. Like, I put CA because I know for a fact that it asks me for my city or country and Canada, and everything here is correct. So I'm just going to type in yes. Return, and over here it's going to ask me it's generating a password, or it's generating with the encryption standard, blah blah blah. Just click enter because you want to keep your passwords the same for everything because you don't want to get confused. So I'm just going to click enter. And quick warning, but then at the end of the day, I have my keystore, which is this one over here. I'm just going to not copy this path, but I want to copy this path. I'm going to go over here to release. I'm going to, it's already here, but if you want, you can just click enter. I think I already mentioned that. So my keystore for release. And what's my release user? This is where I got caught up for 15 minutes. What's my release user? My release user is going to be right here, NadLabs name. That's my release user. Put whatever you typed in here after alias is going to be user. So I typed in NadLabs name. NadLabs name. I'm not going to put any cuts. If there's any noise, you're going to hear it because I want to show like uncut footage of me uploading this to Google Play with this name because I know it's really, really frustrating to get this stuff right. And once you get it right, you don't ever have to play with it again because you know it. So what's my password? My keystore password over here was Godot with a double T. I'm going to export my project. I'm going to name it something entirely different. As you can see, these are the failed attempts, and I'll show you what happens when you upload the failed attempt, but I'm going to uncheck export with debug. Everything else is correct, so save. Give it a second to sign and verify release. We're going to go over here back to my page. I'm going to upload a new one. I'm going to drag and drop my APK, which was, just going to refresh it a couple times. And tutorial 3, upload. And I'm going to show you that if you follow those exact same steps, you can get an uploaded version onto Google Play. And now you can see we have an issue. As you can see, the issue is not with the issue is because I already tried uploading a different APK, which was this one. It says that you basically uploaded this with a different one. Hey, what's wrong? Also, you forgot to change the version code. So for that issue, I'm going to go back and I'm going to make a new a new little app, and I'm going to just make a new app. I'm just going to make a new one. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to make a, what do you mean it cannot be created? Oh, okay. I'm just going to make a new app and show you that it does work. That was an error with Google Play itself because I was uploading a totally new app in place of an old one, because Google really minds the APK that you upload. But continue with app signing, and everything should work. Okay, and as you can see, we're getting another error, and just make sure you read the error message. Like, I'm just showing you the true version of uploading to Android. It's really, really picky. At least in my experience, it was picky, and to use a different package name because, okay, it's already being used. So what's the package name? Over here is the package name. I changed it. You can see over here that usually a package name is like org.nadlabs or whatever your thing is, your name, your username, game name, whatever. Or not game name, sorry. This is where the game name goes, wherever this is. But this is usually like your business or company name or whatever, and this is like just org or com or something. So I'm just going to export my project again. I'm going to name it tutorial 4 just to show you a different APK. I'm just going to wait for this. Don't like click your keyboard or anything because Godot might crash. I'm going to click X. I'm going to go back. I'm going to upload tutorial 4, and now this will work because I've listened to the almighty Android gods and I've done everything as they asked. I'm just joking. You can see it uploads, and I went from 0, or I didn't go from 0, but I'm showing you like the issues with uploading with Android. You have to get everything just right, and once everything is just right, you can upload to Android and make a following on Google Play. If you have any problems, you can feel free to leave them in the comments. And yeah, so I showed you how to get something running up on to a virtual device, which was running in the background the entire time. I showed you how to get it running on the actual phone. And now I showed you how to get it running on Google Play. That should be it. If you have any questions, like I said, leave them in the comments. Have an amazing day. Android 11, 10, 8, 9.